Okay, it's 5:30.
Good afternoon. Today is Monday, August 21st, 2017. Commissioners Court is meeting a special meeting for a public hearing. Item number 2, receive public comment, both proponents and opponents, on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2017-2018 for the County of El Paso.
Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. I have to read the following opening remarks into the record. According to the Texas Local Government Code, Section 140.010, the county may not adopt a tax rate that exceeds the lower of the rollback tax rate or the effective tax rate calculated as provided by the Texas Property Tax Code, Section 26.04, until it has held 2 public hearings on the proposed tax increase. The tax rate proposed for the County of El Paso on August 7, 2017, exceeded the lower of the effective or rollback tax rates. All persons, both proponents and opponents of the tax increase, will be afforded adequate opportunity to present their views. And for the record, this is the second of the 2 public hearings. Also for the record, the county is not proposing to raise taxes. And in fact, the work that we have been doing has been focused on maintaining the current tax rate, which is below the effective tax rate. So just want to make that very clear. We have 2 individuals signed up to address the Commissioners Court. The first is Mr. Isaac Cordero, and the second is Mr. Greg Vera. Mr. Cordero? Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you as well. It's the first time I have the privilege of coming to Commissioners Court and address you fine ladies and gentlemen. So I would just like to discuss, or at least oppose, certain aspects of the budget as it pertains to the Criminal Justice Coordination Department, the PR department. As you might recall, Felix Valenzuela had made a comment as well in February of 2017, requesting a particular transparency as it relates to the program in 2 very distinct points. One is its effectiveness, and 2, the costs and the revenue and the cost saving to taxpayers. Pursuant to those concerns, Mr. Valenzuela has made several requests to several agencies and departments within the courthouse requesting data primarily focused on seeing the transparency, seeing the data as to the effectiveness of the program, and 2, the cost effectiveness as it relates to the taxpayers. To date, there's been 2 problematic elements in the responses that we've received. One is just the absence of data is concerning. Something as astronomically big as this program should be generating a lot of data, and it's not. And second is the conflicting nature of the data that we receive. One is that data cannot be gathered as it relates to specifically failure to appear rates because of the different terms and the different way courts handle them. The other one is just the general nature of the revenue and cost analysis, which doesn't provide any semblance of specific analytics to basically to see whether or not those revenues are actually being captured as opposed to being some theoretical revenue generating program. Because there's so much money getting into that program and maybe a lot of offsets when it comes to bond forfeitures and other revenue that the general fund generally would have if the PR department wasn't there. And that's a little concerning, and that's something that we want to voice our opposition to. Any increase in a program that at this point should have a level of transparency to the public at large as to its effectiveness and its cost savings. And there's 2 very specific reasons why I think the public would want to know about this. One is they want their taxpayers' money going to somewhere that it's effective. That's first and foremost. But also, in addition, there is a very public concern with people criminally accused not going to court and being left out. And there is a level of the criminal justice system has to have some teeth to it. And PR bonds.
Go ahead and finish
Okay.
up, yeah.
Thank you, Judge. Is the PR bonds, the program itself lacks a sort of internal liability that I think maybe the private sector does in terms of collateralizing the bonds and also the enforcement arm that some of the private sector has. And so today, how the department has handled that is a little concerning, especially because in order for you to be able to enforce a warrant or to capture the people that are failing to appear, you have to know who's failing to appear. And based on the responses that we've gotten so far, the universal response is we don't have that number. We don't have the number on failure to appears. And so I think that will create a problem in terms of transparency moving forward, because you can't have an accurate percentage of how many people you get if you don't know who they are. And I just, again, I'd just like to reiterate that, express the opposition to any funds going to, or increased funds going to that program until that transparency is present, especially with all the funds that have been given that program in terms of software. And I think those reports should be a lot more, provide a lot more information.
Thank you, Mr. Cordero. We
All right.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Betsy, would you like to respond in any way?
Yes, ma'am. As far as software, we are in the process of obtaining software for the department to be able to use to track and obtain data. There is also some concerns. Well, there's a couple things. One, we've received a legal opinion that some of the statutorily required reporting is not applicable to our CJC. In addition, regardless of that, we are interested in having and collecting and reporting more data than what we're currently able to, but we are working on a solution to the software to be able to provide that data. And I do believe we have some failure to appear rates that we could provide. I'm not aware of us not being able to provide accurate failure to appear rates that are materially accurate. We may have some codes or things like that it's not picking up, but I do believe we can provide that information. I've already sent a notice to Mr. Bishop to watch this portion of the meeting, catch up with me on it tomorrow, and be sure that we're prepared to address the concerns brought forward.
Thank you, Betsy. And Mr. Cordero, thank you very much for appearing before us and raising your concerns. If you have any interest in learning more or sitting down with our department, we would be very open to that. I hope you know that not one of us wants to waste tax dollars, and we have been striving toward that transparency. It's a very new department, but we want to be better. And so I guarantee that if you leave your number and your email with Betsy, she'll coordinate a meeting with the department director, and would love for you to have a dialogue with him and help us get better. Our next speaker is Mr. Greg Vera. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being here.
Yes, good afternoon or almost good evening. I understand is to keep the tax rate frozen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm basically here for another reason, and that's to reduce the tax rate. And my conditions are very simple or very specific. First of all, the other entities of the property tax has risen. I'm not as fortunate as many veterans would think that you all believe that many veterans collecting disability. Well, those who collect 100%, correct, they do not pay a property tax whatsoever. Those that pay 50% or receive 50% is 50%. Mine, and to many of the veterans that I know, is 0%. We're no different than any other citizens that we see out there who pay property tax. My intentions to try to convince you is to reduce that rate, because I am retired, and I have depend only on a retirement from the military. No disability whatsoever. And I represent a group called Anoramos Veteranos, and we had a meeting not too long ago at the VVA 844. And this issue came up. And this issue is, I understand freezing it is great, but to compensate the difference, at least try to have it reduced or have it reduced. That'll help us out a lot. Because one thing that we have in El Paso, or you all find people having in El Paso, is the productivity of veterans, both in making a permanent home here and those veterans who also, in addition to having the families to rise here, we don't want them to leave to other places out of El Paso to where the tax rate is less or how it used to be several years ago. So I just simply ask to have it reduced.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Commissioners Court on the budget? Okay, let me read the closing remarks, and up next...
Judge?
Yes, sir. Yes.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I had failed to acknowledge that we needed to enter in the public hearing.
Oh.
The motion.
Okay. Caesar, thank you. I apologize. I also forgot. Can we have a motion to enter into the public hearing?
So moved.
I don't think so. Do they? No. Okay.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout. Commissioner Haggerty. Judge Escobar.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Many thanks to our public speakers. We appreciate you being here. Okay, I'm going to read the closing remarks, and then we'll close the public hearing.
Ma'am.
Okay. The Commissioners Court will meet on Monday, August 28th, 2017 at 9:30 a.m. in the Commissioners Court Chambers, room 303 of the County Courthouse Building, 500 East San Antonio Street, El Paso, Texas 79901, to adopt a property tax rate for the County of El Paso for 2017 to be collected during fiscal year 2018. Can we have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Second.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty.
Aye.
Judge Escobar.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And up next at 6 o'clock is the UMC, the second UMC public hearing. Jacob, I can't be here. I have a 6 o'clock. I thought we were going to do 5 o'clock and 5:30, so my apologies. But Commissioner Leon will lead the meeting. Okay, we're adjourned.
This concludes today's public hearing at 5:43 p.m.